Hey, 7th graders. This is a recap of what was done in class on Tuesday. If you were absent, this video is definitely for you. If you were in class and you just want to review, absolutely take a look. We're happy to have you. Otherwise, if you were in class, you are welcome to move on to the other video, which is about the other side of this piece of paper. But jumping right in, this is our pre-reading for our Pearl timed writing assignment. To begin with, the quotation. Steinbeck writes, "For it is said that humans are never satisfied, that you give them one thing, and they want something more." Then here's the prompt, the question you're answering. Is this true? In a well-organized and elaborated essay, I circled essay here, we're writing a whole essay for this. Defend, agree with it. Challenge, disagree with it. Or qualify, agree with it but under certain conditions, your opinion of Steinbeck's assertion. You may write in first person, do not write in second person. You'll see I underlined that and I wrote you over here. Don't use you. Thank you. One other thing to note is qualify is kind of a tough thing. It isn't a wishy-washy like, I think it's true and not true. Qualify is a very specific, it is usually true except in this one circumstance, or it is usually not true except in this one circumstance. So unless you are very sure that you can actually argue an entire essay and qualify, I would say pick one side or the other. Because if you do this incorrectly, it is much worse. You do not want to be the guy who tries qualify and just kind of falls flat with it, okay? It's a tough one. If you're up for the challenge, take it on. Otherwise, take a deep breath, decide if you agree or disagree, and go from there. You'll notice below we have HELP, help, because this is going to help you write your paper. Haha, see what I did there, guys? So this is one brainstorming strategy when you're writing any kind of argument paper, like what you'll write today. Well, you'll write it on Thursday, but still. So the H is history, right? I know you hear jingling. That's my chocolate lab. She would like me to pay attention to her instead of you. Sorry, guys. So under history, I've made a couple of notes. If I were saying I defended, I agreed with Steinbeck's statement, something that would prove that true might be how Hitler kept taking land and conquering different countries, right, during the Second World War. That's an example from history of a time when it was true that humans just weren't satisfied. They wanted more, right? On the flip side of that, if I disagree with Steinbeck on this, if I think, some humans can be satisfied, your statement just isn't true, buddy, then I might talk about how the Native Americans during European colonization, they weren't looking for more of anything. They were just trying to keep what was theirs to begin with, right? I can continue this by going kind of around HELP. So the E here is for current events. Focusing on the events, right? One example of this being true, in both classes, y'all brought up Crimea today. So that's an example of a time, something happening currently, right? Still something we talk about, still something we're grappling with and figuring out. How Russia and the Crimea situation in terms of it trying to secede from the Ukraine and everything, right? So you could write about that in your paper if you agreed with Steinbeck that people always want more. Then there's literature. You'll notice I put the Pearl in both colors because there are characters in the Pearl who could support either argument. So that would be something to think about. There are other novels and short stories out there that could support this support either argument as well. So take a think back into what you've read this year. I know a lot of you read The War That Saved My Life. That might be a great thing to include here, right? And then our last section is personal. And I think the biggest thing to remember here is it has to be a specific story. So you can't just say something like, kids always want more candy. Well, that's not a specific story. So that won't work for evidence for what you're writing. If you want to tell a personal story, it would have to be something like, and I'm going to make one up, so don't use this as your evidence, okay? I could tell you that, when we were kids and we would go to the bank, my little brother always got a lollipop from the bank teller. But he always wanted to have 4 lollipops and he was just never satisfied. And then I could elaborate on that, right? And give some commentary, give some opinions to go along with it and how that proves that Steinbeck's correct. So this one, again, has to be something specific. Can't just be a rhetorical kind of hypothetical thing, okay? Once you've done that, then you'll have enough evidence, hopefully, to write your paper. Couple of things. First, This paper may not leave class, so do not take it with you. Make sure you leave it in the room. It can go in the box, okay? And I think that is it. At this point, you can go on to the next video. Thanks, guys.